In the Andean region of South America, coca has transformed from an aspect of everyday routine, ceremony, and culture into an illicit drug often used as a tool to delegitimize attempts of South American political, economic, and social development. Andeans have consumed coca in a variety of ways for upwards of 5,000 years, but it is most common for Andeans to suck on a wad of leaves and withdraw its extract. To Andeans, the coca leaf's stimulating properties have always been associated with community, religiosity, and hard work. Coca acts as a mild stimulant to laborers, slightly dulling the pains of hunger, fatigue, and thirst. The chewing of coca also serves as a break in the workday, allowing for social interaction and meditative rest. This ceremony is never rushed and always shared. Coca chewing has been passed down by indigenous people for millennia, deeply rooting its significance in Andean culture. Even today's indigenous Andeans, or Quechuans, enjoy the coca leaf in the same way as their ancestors. The Quechuan people call the chewing of coca halpe, and the presentation of the coca leaves to one another quintu. The meditative qualities of coca allow natives to engage with their deities as well as their sacred surroundings. Communal use of coca allows for chewers to strengthen their interpersonal and spiritual bonds, creating what they call ailu. Furthermore, halpe is a practice that is filled with proper etiquette, heavily focused on reciprocity. Rather than a single person doling out coca, it is exchanged in an evenly reciprocated manner. All of these cultural meanings were strongly in place when the Andeans first engaged with the Western world. When the Spaniards conquered the Incans, the use of coca was associated with their downfall. Instead of meditative, the Spaniards saw the coca ceremony as laziness. Coca became a signal of class differentiation, the coca-chewing indigenous laborers versus the civilized Westerners. This class association also deterred Westerners from bringing coca back to Europe, while other goods like chocolate were seen as luxurious imports from the New World. Furthermore, stimulants like coffee and tea had made heroic entrances into the Western world, leaving little room for the influx of coca. After some time, however, Westerners gained interest in the plant. A German chemist named Albert Niemann eventually discovered cocaine in 1860. Cocaine made a big splash in comparison to other drugs due to the fact that it was among the first drugs whose physiological impact could be measured and monitored. Cocaine became particularly popular in American medicine, serving as a broad antidote to the nation's post-industrial nervousness. The Coca-Cola Company also famously included merchandise number 5, or coca leaf extract, in their newly successful drink. Increased demand led to crude cocaine production in the Andean region. Between 1891 and 1901, Peruvian coca and cocaine exports more than tripled. The Andean people expanded their coca plantations extensively, and by 1900, cocaine had become one of Peru's most profitable exports, marking what many thought would become the nation's key to industrialization. Coca was no longer solely a part of Andean culture, but the plant had become a window for economic growth and development. While cocaine rose to power, however, its legal market shrank. Westerners were swept with anti-drug sentiments. Cocaine was no longer seen as an all-encompassing miracle drug, but rather a serious threat in the face of temperance movements. Coca industries took a serious hit, most heavily affecting the rural lower classes that had become dependent upon its exportation. Extreme poverty arose, and class associations with coca strengthened. Elite South Americans, also the whitest, deemed coca a vice of the indigenous and laboring classes. Coca had transformed from a notion of communal heritage into a signifier of class and ethnic distinctions. Meanwhile, illegal trade continued to grow. Between 1947 and 1964, drug traffickers arose, stitching the fabric for extensive illicit trade networks. The rise of the Cold War also helped this illegal cocaine market to gain power. In the 1960s, Cold War politics in Peru, Bolivia, and Chile were polarizing, leading to civil unrest and ineffective government control. This power vacuum allowed for drug lords and violence to arise. Westerners used this political instability as a way to bully and disregard the legitimacy of South American states. The war on drugs forged by the American government has allowed for excessive force in Andean regions, coercing the nations into cooperation by threatening restrictions on legal trade. Harsh anti-narcotic laws reaffirmed American dominance over Andean nations, rather than providing them with the tools to develop new forms of industry. These American invaders created heightened violence and overarching risk associated with cocaine production, ultimately leading to greater rewards for cocaine producers. Ergo, corruption and political unrest have run rampant even after the Cold War. Furthermore, debt and economic disarray have regularly plagued the Andean region. The combination of economic, social, and political factors resulting from the cocaine trade has crippled Andean development and shaped the meaning of coca for the worst. Although the indigenous cultural practice of consuming coca leaves has remained constant, the plant's meaning has greatly affected the Andean people, both indigenous and of foreign heritage. Rather than maintaining its meditative qualities, it has become the cause of physical and political conflict. Furthermore, the communal meaning associated with halpe differs greatly from the socioeconomic and cultural inequalities coca has come to signify.